Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are and wherever you're watching from. My name is Matt Pierce, host of the Visual Lounge. Today, I want to talk about something I think is just really exciting and also very interesting if you are looking at creating videos, particularly videos that need a little bit higher level of polish or are a bit more complicated. I want to talk about that process that we go through to make videos that are, complicated. Sometimes you got videos, you're just going to sit down, you're going to say it, you're going to do it. That's fine. And those are great videos. But sometimes you've got something that's got more moving pieces. It's got multiple scenes. Maybe you've got actors. I am in the midst of working on one of those. And let's just say there's a level of discomfort I have. And now I make a lot of videos. I do not make a lot of highly produced videos that require multiple actors, multiple scenes, multiple shots, multiple angles, multiple close-ups, pulls, all the things that go into making something like a commercial. And so I want to share a little bit of what I've been learning because I think it's an important thing to look at, particularly if you are in an environment where, one, again, you're making this high production level quality videos, but two, if you just are looking for other ways to maybe improve, enhance, to think about your video production process that might help speed you up, might make you a little bit more thorough, might get you through the approval process a little bit better, a little bit faster, all good things. So where I want to start is, first and foremost, we've always talked on this show and this podcast about the importance of writing a script. I have written 3 commercial scripts in the last couple months. And let me just tell you, the first 2 kind of stunk. And here's some things that I learned about writing those scripts that I think is really important. First and foremost, you got to make sure the concept's doable. One of the ideas we actually took to a professional producer, director, and he was very excited. And then he started adding up the cost of doing something with that number, the number of people and the number of kind of required effects. And it was not a small number. No concern because, I mean, he's got to charge what he's got to charge. But, I wasn't comfortable with that by any means. Then I wrote another script. This is actually the 3rd script, and thought I took a concept. We did some brainstorming, which I think is really good. Get the ideas out there. Took one of the concepts, ran with it. Some pieces of it were standing out. I feel like what was a pretty good job writing script, and then said, hey, with a small group of writers, hey, let's go through this, tear it apart, make sure it's going to work because constraints. We know can't have too many people, can't have too many locations. We don't want a lot of special effects, and it got adjusted. It is not the same video as it was. I think there's core pieces to the concept. Most of the script dialogue survived, but it changed. And I think it's changed for the better. But you gotta sit with that for a little bit. And I think there's that process of going through with these things and looking and saying, look, your video should go through feedback. If it's not going through feedback, you gotta say why. Why am I not putting it through that process? We can't let ego get in the way of that, but we want what's best. Now, even in that, as we've started looking at the things that we are setting out to do, and this is something that we're going to make, I can tell you right now, there's things that we probably are looking at and saying, why did we do that? Why did we write it that way? So now, so that's one thing. You got to write the script. You got to go through the process. I use very little AI. The only time I used AI is there's a part where this businessy jargon is needed. And I asked AI to help me write some businessy jargon that just sounds kind of inane and silly. Now, the next thing we need to do, that went through its approval process. After the writers got together, we wrote it, sent it to the people that needed to be stakeholders, thumbs up. We laid it out in an actual script format that's not the 2-column template, but actually with like direction, what are people going to be doing? So you can really tell what the action is. Now, this is mostly on camera. There's some screen content in there as well. The next thing we needed to do is we needed to make a storyboard. And we got together and said, hey, we're going to make a storyboard. We wanted to do that in person. We wanted to be at a whiteboard, sketching it out. It didn't work because just getting together was hard. But what we did do is we went into Zoom, a whiteboard, and we literally used stick figures. One of the people we were working with, she made stick figures, put people there, gave it a little bit of perspective. And that was great. It was a great start. It was a great way to say, like, yeah, this makes sense. But this is a big production. We're putting a lot of time and effort into this. We want it to look good. And what we did next is something I think is a really great next step process that you can do. If you need a little bit more higher fidelity storyboard, particularly if you need something that's got to get through approval, right? You've got some compliance, maybe it's compliance, legal needs to see, and they need to get a sense of what you're doing. Here's what I did. I actually used ChatGPT. It's image generation capability. You could use lots of things, but the key was now ChatGPT can do something I think is really interesting. It can create a character and it can hold on to that character, which is different because before you were just randomly generating scenes, but now I wanted a character and I could ask it for a transparent background. So I said, I just want this character doing this thing. I want this same character doing this thing. Now I want to change clothes for this character doing this thing. And I was able to generate just transparent background PNG images of characters. And I did that for all the characters that need to be in the script. And then I asked it to generate a background with no people in it, nothing going, just kind of what we expect the scene to look like. Now, I only had to do that once because it's all going to be in one location, but I could have asked it to do other scenes as well. Now, here's then what I did, because honestly, I tried to get it to build it for me. It wasn't doing a good job. It wasn't, it couldn't, I was saying like, oh, a medium shot, close-up shot. It didn't know what I wanted, the angles, things like that. So then I took it into PowerPoint. Humble old PowerPoint. You could just Google Slides. You could do this probably in other things. And because it works in layers, I could do this in Snagit even, really. I put down my scene, I put down my characters, and then I could zoom in and make them smaller and give them perspective. And I will show this here. So let's go ahead and show that. This is what it looks like. I'm not going to talk too much about what the ad's about or anything like that, but I wanted you to see, like, for me, this was huge. I cranked this bad boy out pretty quickly. And we could hand it over to my video producer, and she could add things in. She could change things. And then we're also doing the whole storyboard shot listing where we need a close-up, we need a wide angle, we need all the things, right? We could see this in much greater clarity, what this needs to look like, which is going to allow us on the day of the shoot to basically check these things off. So to me, this has been a huge step forward to give me a visual clarity that I wasn't getting. And I love stick figures. I don't think storyboards need to be the end all be all visual, but for something like this, when we're working with multiple people, we need to be able to really break it down and really show people this is what it's going to look like. And so I really have appreciated that use of AI in that workflow. Now, there's other things that I'm asking it to do. I'm taking it and using it to say, hey, here's my script. And there's nothing sensitive in there, so I'm not worried about that. Help me identify what are the props that we mention, if any. And it did okay. I've still got to go through it. It doesn't always know something is a prop or is not a prop. We're also asking it to identify, some other things in terms of what we're showing or what we need. Because the idea is that we've got a full list of things that we can go out and we can acquire, find, and we can just check it off. We got the bucket. We've got this. We got that. And that's been super helpful to have it do some of that processing. And not that I couldn't do that, but it's just a time saver, right? Other things that AI is starting to do now, because again, this is a more complicated shoot. We've got things like I needed to put out a casting call. I've never done that before. I've never really put out a casting call, maybe once back in like 2014 or something like that. So it's been a while. Help me write a casting call. Help me put this together. How do I describe this? So some of that's been really, really fantastic just to help speed up the process, fill in the gaps of what I don't know. I make a lot of training videos. I make a lot of tutorial videos. I make a lot of podcasts. I don't make a lot of commercials. And so this has been, I think, super helpful just to dig into and help me to be the extra eyes and kind of even if it's all predictive and, not necessarily unique, it helps me fill in the gaps of things that I have. Now, there's a lot of other things that are happening here that I think that where AI will come into play, where I think we're going to go. We've got a lot of work to do, still pulling things together, got to hire actors. We've got a space finally located. But when we're shooting, things that we're looking at is we've got in every space that we looked at, and these are some amazing offices we were able to tour and look at, and we've got our own office here. All of them, with almost without exception, have noise cancellation, like the sound. It's there for a purpose because these are real businesses. And that's going to be a problem with our audio. So we're looking at how do we mitigate that. AI background noise removal, it's going to come in handy. It's a consistent noise. It should handle it just fine. Thank goodness Camtasia's got it. Other tools have it. But that's something that we're going to look at. You bet we're going to do some AI transcription. One, we need to caption this. It needs to be a captioned production. But two, I think it's going to really help us speed up our takes, just going through them and seeing if there's things that we missed. We've got some really great things coming in Camtasia Audiate that are part of the Camtasia Pro package that I think will help us speed up some things there. And then I think just there's some other things that are, as of recording this, so it was my yesterday, but like a week ago, a new version of Camtasia dropped, and there's what's the new updated Smart Focus. Now, if you remember, Smart Focus was a feature that was released back in Camtasia 5, kind of has fallen. It wasn't working all that great. They updated it, and wow, it's gotten way better. And it's not perfect. It's not going to do everything. You're going to adjust things, but oh my gosh, it puts you into the ballpark, hitting at least a good double. If you're into sports metaphors, I don't really know what that even means. Scoring a field goal, kicking a penalty. I don't know. Metaphors aside, right? But that's going to help in terms of like as we get to our screen recording to speed up that process. And so, what I'm suggesting at this point, I think I want to come to a turning point. We've talked a lot about how bad AI has been, all the things it can't do. It's getting good. It's starting to get to the point where it's doing these jobs really well. Now, it's not doing everything, and I don't want it to do everything, and nor do you. But what I do think is getting to the point where it is getting pretty good to do some of the things, or to at least lift and to excel on some of these things. And I think that's really important. So what I would suggest we all start doing is saying, like, what parts is this filling in? Now, there's a lot of tools out there that are going to tell you that they can do all things. They're going to make the video for you. They're going to do all, it can write the script. It can make the video. It can do that. I've seen some of them. And you know what? I don't doubt we're going to get to a point someday where that's going to be really cool. We're still not there, but I do think there are parts and pieces that are really getting to be useful, like really practical without a lot of effort and having to write really long prompts or anything like that. But like if you can describe what you're doing, it can really help you. And it can, when you're not an expert, it can start to feed you with some of the ideas. One of my favorite things just generally in AI and whether it's writing and it's script creating or it's video creation is I give it some information and ask it to ask me questions. And I'm not really using the content that it's creating, but by having it ask me questions, I have to respond in such a way that it is making me think through at a deeper level what it is that I am trying to say, what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to accomplish. So I think right now scripting, storyboarding are some of my favorite parts of AI. I think some of these things that we don't necessarily think about as AI, part of our AI workflow or video workflow, but background noise removal, the transcription, I can see as AI voices continue to improve, that's going to have a role to play. Because imagine taking that storyboard and doing an animatic, I think it's called, where you've got the script playing out with the voices, but we're not going to record those. We don't have time to do that necessarily. But different voices, different people doing the thing. And oh my gosh, we've got an animatic that we can even animate lightly in PowerPoint to show people, hey, is this working? We can even show it to customers and say, is this working? And they could say, yeah, no, I didn't like that. I didn't understand that part. Or I'm not sure how you got from this to this. Like these are the things that we're starting to be able to do, I think, in a really kind of cool way. So with that said, I want to keep today's episode a little bit short, but I think there's a lot of room here. Here's my ask at the end of this episode. TechSmith has a lot of cool stuff that we've been working on. A lot of it is AI enabled that you might not know about. Background noise removal, dynamic captions are good examples of that. The Audiate, a lot of the stuff that's in the creative package or the pro package, there's lots of AI going on there, more coming. We've also got, if you're using Screencast.com, if you're not using Screencast.com, to get feedback on your videos, to share quick videos, without having to plug up your email or plug up Slack. It is fantastic. It will also do like AI title and description generation. It also does some transcription. Really fantastic, really easy. If you're sharing a quick video, you want to, instead of an email, oh my gosh, use screencast.com. It's so great. I'd ask you to go check out those things. Let us know, what is your favorite TechSmith AI feature that we've got? And what are we missing? What would you love to see? We've got some stuff. I'm waiting for the day I can show. We got some really cool stuff that's coming. It's coming down the pipe. Don't forget, we got AI avatars, stuff like that. And really generous usage of those. Like the limits are really quite good. If you compare it to others, and you'll see like, yeah, oh my gosh, I can do a lot with this. So I ask you just go check those out and let us know what you think. What are we missing? What do we need? And then, as a listener of the podcast, if you've made it this far, we thank you for subscribing. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. We'd ask you, if you aren't subscribed, either on YouTube or to the podcast, please do so. That helps us know that people are listening. Gives me motivation to keep going here. And I'd love to hear from you guys just generally about what you'd like to see. I know I have an episode I owe. I got to do one about analytics. I'm just got to get my stuff together, my data, so I can do that one well. But we'll do that in the future, an episode about data analytics and video, because there's a lot there. I think we can learn a lot. We can continue to learn from as we look at that data, because, hey, you're making a video, you need to know if it worked. And there's lots to help us do that. So with that said, as we always say here, we hope you take a little time to level up every single day. Thanks, everybody.